Thanksgiving. A lot of people were not in office today, but you can see that area is still very, very busy at this hour.
Yeah, it raises a lot of questions because we do not know if it's related to a separate crime or if they were targeted. We don't know if it has anything at all to do with the White House. Because of the distance, probably not, but we don't know if these National Guardsmen may have intercepted a person or persons who had firearms noticeable. We don't know yet if it was a handgun or long arm. I will say that, again, I just caution everybody, we're going to get a lot more information pouring into us in the next hour from police sources and news media. And until we get a better understanding of what's going on, don't necessarily rely on the first things we hear. I do think, I'm watching the law enforcement on the screen, and you see, like you said, ATF, FBI, Secret Service, National Guard, and Washington Metro PD, they're all conferring. A lot of them are conferring. So they were all looking at their phones or looking at a screen. It could be an iPad or something. I'm wondering if they have something already that they're looking for any other individuals.
Friends, I'm not going to jump in too much because this is kind of a live situation, but allegedly 2 National Guardsmen near the White House have been shot. They claim the suspect is in custody, but obviously it being in the Washington, D.C. area, who knows? That might just be something to get people pacified at this point. But at this point, 2 National Guardsmen have been shot. Don't know I guess, the nature of their wounds right now. But I'll bring you back to the live. This is a live feed from that Northwest D.C. area.
Place that you can talk about.
Right. I can tell you that everybody inside of the White House and also in the Department of Treasury got a security alert that told them that there was something suspicious happening outside. For something major like this, they would automatically send out a red alert. Oftentimes, if it is just a suspicious vehicle, a package, if it's somebody in Lafayette Park that they think might be dangerous, they just send something out and caution people on what exits to use. For something like this, when it's multi-block, they let people know right away that you are not leaving work and you might as well stay exactly where you are. They also tell people that news is developing in real time. But we also know that there are reporters there currently at the White House press pool that operate out of there in the offices there. And so I'm sure right away, everybody from their respective news organizations reached out to folks. And so they have people, I saw just from the live footage, reporters that I recognize that were standing outside. And so you have a lot of pedestrians and watchers that are gathering, but you also have a lot of people inside that are thinking about next steps and ways to get in contact with the president.
And you see the police tape crisscrossing every which way in that area right now on 17th and I, 16th and I. And as we take a look at this Skyfox shot from over the scene, you see the White House in the background, and then dozens and dozens of emergency responders, first responders that are in that area. And right now we're just getting into the newsroom that the Associated Press is reporting that the 2 guardsmen who were shot are in critical condition. If you've been in D.C., over the last several months, if you go into the district, anywhere you go, whether it is at a metro stop, the National Mall, in your neighborhood, you have seen these guardsmen and women walking the streets, and they have come from all over. So we don't know where these have come from, these 2 that were shot, and the AP is reporting that they're in critical condition. But they have come from places like Ohio and Kentucky and Texas, and they have been here for months now.
Right. And important to note that in all of those areas, there is a great amount of Secret Service, and Secret Service oftentimes are certified in EMS, so we know that the Secret Service that rushed to the scene had already been trained in ways to help. And so hopefully as the bystanders got out of the way, they were able to really help the National Guard there. And it's so sad to think about all of these people that came here under orders because they made the brave decision to protect and serve, and here they are now. And just at a time when we were told that the National Guard was going to be able to leave, we have this happen when we really haven't had any serious fraught incidents with the National Guard. They've been able to operate in this city, which I'm sure Mayor Bowser has been proud of, that the city has welcomed them. They've been here, and there haven't been any kind of overt violent incidents involving the National Guard.
Every time I have been out and about in D.C., the response I've gotten from people is they've enjoyed having them here because they are friendly, they are helpful. For months, they were helping clean up the district, they were mulching, they were picking up trash, they were making DC beautiful. And to have this happen again, like you said, as they've just received orders to start dwindling those numbers and start leaving the district is really heartbreaking. We don't know where these two guards members have come from. We don't know anything about their background right now, but we are hearing that they are in critical condition after being shot. And again, we know from DC police that one suspect is in custody. This was some sort of active shooting. We don't know what led up to it. But again, just a block from the White House on this Thanksgiving Eve.
And thankfully, the president and the first lady, of course, had already left for Thanksgiving. But had the president and first lady been there, I think we would have seen even more increased police presence from all law enforcement agencies in this. I mean, it was great to see law enforcement rush to the scene and follow protocol and shut down the corresponding blocks. I think it makes complete sense if those blocks stay shut down for an extended amount of time until they figure out who saw what and if there's any evidence to be gathered.
We're going to go back out live to our Julie Donaldson, who is on the scene right now, joining us live near 16th and I. Julie, you have somebody with you.
All right, thanks, Homa. We're here with Stacey. Stacey said she was here when she kind of heard everything that was unfolding. Stacey, tell us a little bit of what time did this all happen and what did you hear and see at the moment?
It was about 2:15 p.m. I was going to my lunch break, heading to the Ronald Reagan building to go to the dry cleaners. I was in the Uber. I heard right in front of 17th Street, and I heard boom, boom, 2 times. And then the Uber driver said, "Why are all these people running?" So then I look out the window and it's little children, adults running, children on both sides of the street, running in the opposite direction. The supervision is saying to the children, "Go, go, run." And then I heard help, help in the direction of the shooting. But I don't know if it was the shooter or if it was someone trying to help the shooter. I had to take out my contacts because my eyes were irritated. But the Uber driver did say to me the individual who did the shooting had a hood on over their head. And I thought to myself, I had literally just said to the Uber driver, "It's such a beautiful day." So then the Uber, and I said, "Why would someone have a hood?" So that to me makes me feel like maybe the individual planned this. And then the police response or Secret Service guarded men, professional level, government level, quickly came from all directions running.
Yeah, how long from you hearing those, the noises that you heard and the booms that you heard before there was like police presence coming out here?
It was seconds. It was seconds. We're on the street and they immediately told us, "You have to turn around. You have to turn around." Yeah, it was within seconds. Like, I was super impressed.
Did you see the person that was running the with the hood? Did you see anybody down on the ground? There's all the extent of the injuries?
No, I only saw the individuals who were running in the opposite direction, the children and the little children. They looked like they were only 5.
What kind of emotions does that stir in you in that moment, seeing everything unfold?
I thought to myself, it was a beautiful day. A beautiful day. It's the holidays. Imagine these little children, something would have happened to them. Like, that's heartless. No parent wants to bury their child. And it was so many. The little children were on both sides of the street.
How long before you feel that they got this place safe and contained? Because right now, everything is pretty much blocked off.
Oh, my gosh. Let's talk about that. So I did go to the Ronald Reagan building to pick up my stuff from the dry cleaners. And I had to get out the Uber to walk back now because everything is blocked. And I didn't expect that. I thought I was going to come back this way in my Uber. Everything was going to be resolved. And like I said, it occurred around 2:15. So it's definitely something major that happened. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Have you talked to any police or any security on what you did see here?
No, I have to get back to work.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Stacey, thank you very much for sharing what you saw and witnessed here tonight. Yeah, thank you so much, Stacey. Okay, so here we have, again, there's a lot of people out here just saying a lot of people are here for the holidays. As Stacey was saying, it really is a beautiful day. So we've seen a lot of foot traffic out here, but the roads are currently closed off. You can see them at times lowering the police signs to let more police officers go through the yellow tape that's up here. Despite this being such a heavy presence, people are relatively calm. You're not getting an oversense of fear. It's more almost just a kind of like a curiosity. And I think that's a testament to the fact that you can tell that the police presence here does have things under control, and it doesn't seem like there's any danger or risk that is presenting to anybody right now. Of course, if that was the case, I'm sure everybody would be pushed back much further. But you can see all the different units working together. You can see all the different police out here making sure that people do not get into areas that interferes with what they are trying to do. Both roads are closed off here right near the metro. As Stacey was saying, at the time everybody was running, a lot of that panic, a lot of that fear has died down at this point, but the response has been quick. The response is heavy. You're not getting anywhere around this area. We can see further, it looks down maybe down the road, down here on I Street a little bit further down. It looks like you can see a little bit more police presence kind of moving back and forth down there. I can't quite see exactly what units are down there, but you do have all of them out. Look, this is a time where the National Guard has been here in D.C. for a while. During that time, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of praise on the number of homicides decreasing, the crime in D.C. going down with their presence here. Of course, now that, you know, it's talks out there that some of the National Guard actually has been involved in this. They have been a victim of some of this crime. That tells a very different story of what everybody's experiencing out here today, Homa.
Julie, thank you so much. We're going to check back in with you in just a little bit, but we are hearing that the White House, again, you're about a block from the White House is on lockdown even at this hour right now. We know DC police saying one suspect is in custody, but these are very early hours right now, still gathering information. You see the massive police presence right now on your screen. You're seeing ATF, National Guard, Secret Service, FBI, all gathered in that area on Connecticut, on I Street. Again, just about a block away from the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying that the president has been briefed on the situation. They're actively monitoring the tragic situation that has unfolded, leaving 2 National Guard members shot and in critical condition at this hour. I want to go back to Sheriff Rich Giordano joining us now live. Rich, as you're seeing this scene unfolding, this massive police presence in this area, we do want to note that the president and the first lady are not at the White House right now. They are currently down in Florida. They left yesterday for the Thanksgiving holiday. We would have been seeing a much different scene had they been there. But again, this is one of the most heavily protected areas in the entire country, if not the entire world, with the amount of Secret Service and law enforcement in just that surrounding few square blocks.
Well, proper protocol says even if the president and first lady are not in D.C., right now they've probably doubled their security and moved them to a safe location because you don't know if this is related. Again, my thoughts and prayers go out to the National Guardmen and their families. One thing that's very disturbing is that these National Guardsmen are from all over the country. They have different rules of engagement than local law enforcement as far as weapons, what they can do. But Wendy, she was a great witness because what we can learn from her is if he had a hoodie on this person and they were both shot and in critical condition, they may not have been expecting it. It may have been part of his plan. She did say that, like he planned it, because it's a beautiful day. Why has he got a hoodie on? So that causes me more concern that these individuals may have been targeted or the National Guard may have stumbled upon another crime that this individual was committing. But she really, and I encourage anyone who's listening, who was down there at the time but couldn't stick around, wait a couple hours, call DC police, give their name, their phone number, their address, and let them know if they saw something or have something on their cameras, because that's going to become vital, critical pieces of evidence that may help piece this together. Again, right now they say one person they think is the shooter is in custody, but it's too preliminary to know exactly if there were more individuals involved, one in the planning, whether it was a targeted event on these National Guardsmen, which I hope it wasn't. We hope they pull through. But also think of what's going on now. There's family members from all over this country on their cell phones reaching out to their National Guardsmen family members to see if they're okay. And some people are not going to get a call back right away, or not going to get a call back. And that's got to be very frightening and very concerning. I also think that the people in the government buildings that are on lockdown, they're probably watching us on TV, but they also, it's got to be very terrifying and scary for some of them. One thing that's weird is, like you said, the lockdown has all these people gathered on the street. We've been so conditioned that people aren't afraid to come back to the scene once the police are there. But this is a catastrophic incident. You would think that many people would still want to stay away, but we're a rubbernecking society.
Absolutely.
And again, you had some great insight about the buildings being locked down from your other reporter.
Fox 5 DC coverage continues, but we want to again continue to bring you the latest updates that we are getting into our newsroom right here on Live Now from Fox with the situation out in DC. President Trump has put out a statement on Truth Social regarding the shooting, saying the animal that shot the two National Guardsmen, with both being critically wounded and now in two separate hospitals, is also severely wounded, but regardless, will pay a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you. So that is the statement there from President Trump, putting that out just moments ago on Truth Social, also saying that the suspect was injured as well. That active investigation going on right now. Let's continue to bring you the very latest from Fox 5 DC. Their coverage continues right now.
Using it as a tool, but these are an example why you need that, because if we can get a picture of the guy, a person with a hoodie, guy or woman, and they can track it down by looking at the cameras and tracking other people with hoodies, that is stuff that helps us as investigative tools.
Right,
So much of
and I want to just interrupt you here for a second. Fox 5 learning from sources that 3 people were transported from that scene, 2 National Guard members and 1 other person, all 3 with gunshot wounds. And at this hour, we're not sure what that third person's condition is, the extent of the injuries, but we are learning that the 2 National Guard members are suffering critical injuries, taken to the hospital right now. So 3 people in total transported from that scene here in the last hour. And you see that very heavy police presence. And when we talk about the National Guard being in the district, we know at one point their numbers were as high as 1,500. And just in the last week, a judge ruling that states allowing their National Guards members to be here in DC was unlawful. They put that on pause just to not mess with operational security and their operations. But that was supposed to expire on December 11th. Just in a few short weeks, they were meant to return back to their homes. We don't know where the 2 who have been shot were from, if they're from DC, if they're from another state. We are learning that their condition right now is critical, but 3 people in total taken. And when we look at this scene, we look at the massive police presence and we see officers with their body cameras. Every one of those buildings, Embassy, has a camera on it.
Right.
These lights have cameras on it. So
most surveilled area.
As Rich said, they're going to have a plethora of evidence to go through.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it's a bit shocking that this incident happened exactly where it did, because we have had a strong National Guard presence. And while there may have been some folks in DC that took some issue with it in certain areas, we saw like Navy Yard down by the wharf. For this area, it is just not uncommon to see a heavy law enforcement presence. It doesn't matter what agency they're associated with. So for something like this to happen to National Guard, where they usually are, the proximity to the National Mall means that there was an increased presence, as well as most of our federal agencies are located in that radius as well. Thinking about Treasury, DOI, I know the FBI is just a couple blocks away. It's just a bit shocking with this heavy amount of law enforcement's presence that something like this could happen to someone.
And you see the officers that are on scene right now are asking people to push back a little bit. There's a massive crowd of bystanders, not just news crews, but bystanders, people who were either at their office this day before Thanksgiving, tourists that are in town for the holiday, people that are in this very highly trafficked part of DC. I want to go now to national security analyst Armen Keteyian with Armen. Are you here with us now?
Here, I can hear you.
Okay, so when you're looking at this massive police presence, police tape crisscrossing this entire area where it's just a block from the White House, and you have ATF, Secret Service, FBI, DC Police, Transit Police, everybody converging on this area. Again, one of the most highly protected areas in the country. Tell me your thoughts as you're watching this unfold.
Well, first of all, my heartfelt condolences to the family members of those brave soldiers who were shot, along with their fellow soldiers and their commanding officers and their support staff. This is absolutely inexcusable. And frankly, I would like to see this considered domestic terrorism. Any premeditated attack on law enforcement, I believe, is domestic terrorism of a form, because this is going after our government. This is going after law enforcement, and this is a loosely coordinated effort that you see across the country. I am very heartened to see the massive response there that hopefully perhaps will deter future attacks like this. The coordinated response between the police, fire, and other emergency authorities. This is the kind of response that we need in our nation's capital to come down very quickly, especially our seat of government, which is a target not only by some of the folks like this, but from folks all over the world. So I very much hope they find these people, to find out what inspired them to do this. And this kind of thing this is not acceptable in our country. This has got to stop.
Yeah, and DC police telling us that they do have one person in custody. It's not clear yet how many people were involved in the shooting. But MPD is setting up a staging area just a couple blocks away over on K Street. So we're hoping that they do have some sort of news conference in the coming minutes so we can learn more information. Again, this is all coming in very quickly. You see police, they're on scene asking people to push back. You see a lot of people with their phones out, their cameras out, along with news crews. And I do want to tell you right now, Reagan National Airport has issued a ground stop. This is in effect until 4 p.m. They're saying it is due to security, no other information involved, but a ground stop right now at Reagan National Airport. We know hundreds and hundreds of flights are taking off from DCA, Dulles, BWI today as people either head home or come back home to the district, to the DMV for this Thanksgiving holiday. So that will be impacting people's travel plans. This area around 16th, 17th I streets in downtown DC, just near the White House, they're blocking off roads to both pedestrian and vehicular traffic. So there will be many impacts of this to come as this investigation really is just beginning. And Armin, when you look at the amount of cameras in that area, there is going to be much to glean.
Yes, definitely. I know there's techniques such as artificial intelligence that can do facial recognition much faster than the old days, where it's just people looking through these pictures. Now you can cross-match, you can find this suspect, find out where they were using other video feeds that they have, and quickly build a picture so much faster than you were able to do before, and find out if you had any additional co-conspirators that were going on. Look, these kinds of attacks, we're seeing these happen almost on a daily basis all over the country. These premeditated attacks on law enforcement. These guys were just out there protecting the city. It sounds flippant to say that, but putting their lives on the line, just like anyone who wears a uniform, whether it's a firefighter, police officer, soldier, sailor, Air Force, Marine, every day going out, getting paid to protect the public. And for the public to come out and actually attack them is wholly unacceptable, as the antithesis of everything that we are as a constitutional republic. And I would think, yeah.
Thank you so much for your insight. I just real quick want to read a post on Truth Social from President Donald Trump. He says the animal that shot the 2 National Guardsmen, with both being critically wounded and now in 2 separate hospitals, is also severely wounded. But regardless, will pay a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you. President Donald Trump just posted that here in the last few minutes online. And I want to go live now to our Bob Barnard, who is live in front of the White House. Bob, what is the scene there?
Yeah, Homa, there's music playing, but it's actually fairly quiet. I thought there might be more tourists here, but they've probably just gone down the street. This is the White House here. You're looking at Lafayette Square, which is on lockdown, and there in some places where the public would normally walk, there is police tape, but they're also, you see these heavily armed uniformed Secret Service agents right here on the property here. This is National Park Police property, but they appear to be Secret Service officers here. And just as you would see on a normal day, just a small group of people playing music and having a little bit of a protest here. One looks like anti-Trump, and then there's another one here as well. But this whole complex is closed off, and many streets around here. So pedestrians are able to walk down the sidewalk. That's why you see people standing here. But this is H Street, right in front of the famous St. John's Episcopal Church here. The street is closed to traffic, as is I Street, 1 block north, starting at 15th Street. So there is a wide perimeter here, and this is looking back against what would be normally traffic down H Street toward 17th. So that's where you see the police tape there is going to be keeping anybody from walking or driving there, beyond that point. And you see DC police are here helping to maintain the perimeter as well. So where you're looking from Doug Wilkes's camera, his facing right down there is the scene 1 block south of where the shooting was. So the intersection with the flashing lights that you're seeing there is 17th and H. So 1 block north to the right of your screen there would be where this happened, just to show you how close it was to the White House. And obviously there are a lot of plainclothes detectives and others, as you see this gentleman here, actually who I recognize. How you doing? There's a lot of law enforcement, Metro Transit Police, MPD, U.S. Park Police, and Secret Service all involved. And I'll tell you, Homa, on our way here to the White House to help assist in the coverage, we saw a large police and fire presence right down by Capital One Arena. And we believe there's a Caps game tonight. And we thought perhaps it had to do with the shooting here, but it was an elderly couple that had lost control and smashed into a building along 7th Street, basically right across the street excuse me, I said 17th, 7th Street at I, right across basically from Capital One Arena. And there were National Guard troops standing there helping to provide perimeter security down at that scene. So if you've been downtown and you thought the National Guard were gone, they are not. They were at that scene, and they were here at 17th and I earlier this afternoon at the time of the shooting. Homa.
Bob, it is such a stark contrast to see your camera and your perspective right there in front of the White House, Lafayette Park, and to see the active scene just a block away. It seems so calm where you are, so chaotic where Julie's camera is. Bob, we'll check in with you in just a little bit. Is there something you want to show us?
That's good. You doing all right? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, just saying hi to people I know here, trying to see if there's any more information.
Okay,
but
we'll
again,
let you gather.
Before we go, I'm just going to mention that, we believe the one suspect is in custody, but they're obviously taking it seriously. Here's a uniformed, heavily armed man at Lafayette Square maintaining the lockdown at the White House, even right now.
Okay, Bob, we'll check in with you in just a little bit. Thank you so much. We're going to head over to Julie Donaldson now, who is live at the scene. Julie, what's the latest that you can tell us now?
So, Homa, we were further down, and the police, they just pushed everybody back up to 16th Street. They wanted to expand the area where they're doing this investigation, and you saw the heavily presence there. They were moving those ropes back. All of the media, there's dozens of media out here covering this, trying to figure out what is going on as this is unfolding right here in front of us, just again, a block from where Bob's at the White House. So they did push everybody back a block, and that included everybody that was out there kind of just curious as what was going on. We came across Trisha. Trisha said you heard sirens and she was in the area wanting to check out the White House. What was just your reaction when you heard everything that was kind of going down?
At first we just heard sirens and didn't think much of it. We continued to walk. We were working our way to another metro station, and then security obviously was getting tighter. We asked one of the Secret Service agents if this was temporary or normal security, and he said temporary. And then we just happened to walk upon is it Farragut Square, where all this was happening.
And you're from Georgia. What brings you up to DC for the holidays?
Our son. lives here. So we're visiting him. He's working today. So
When you're talking to people down there that are going on, what are people saying out of their curiosity with such the presence that's going on here?
we didn't really hear anything.
What's just your reaction to kind of this unfolding and knowing that, you know, there's a shooter and there's been injuries as well to National Guard?
It made us wonder if we needed to get out of the area quickly. The other side is there's so much security and police presence here now. We figure it's fairly safe.
And what have you been able to do so far in DC before this?
We went to the Portrait Museum today and had lunch.
Any concerns on safety as you continue on?
We had no concerns on safety, and I feel fairly safe.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Of course, a part of that feeling safe is that there is such a heavy presence here. We've heard so many different people that I've talked to, some of them didn't want to go on camera, trying to say what they saw, what they heard at the time. It's just a lot of speculation because some numbers have been very differing from one to the next. But again, we continue to wait to see what information more we do have coming out on what actually took place here, aside from what we already have, Homa.
Julie Donaldson on scene for us, speaking with witnesses, people in the area. As you heard from that woman visiting from Georgia, a lot of people are in town to see their family, to see their friends. A lot of people have returned back home to the district, living in other places. So a very active scene right now. Julie, thank you. We'll check back in with you in just a little bit. I'll let you go gather as we take a live look at Skyfox over the scene here at 17th and I, just again, a block from the White House. Many streets have been shut down, both to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. If you're just now joining us, we know that 2 National Guard members have been shot. They are in critical condition. A third person, also with a gunshot wound, was transported from the scene. DC police saying they do have one person in custody. It is not clear what the connection was here, but the White House is on lockdown. We can tell you the President Trump, and First Lady are not here at the White House. They left for Florida for the Thanksgiving holiday yesterday. Still a very active scene down there in downtown DC on this Thanksgiving Eve. President Trump writing on Truth Social just a few minutes ago that whoever did this will pay a steep price. We know at the height, there were about 2,000 National Guard members here in the district from all over the country. Here's President Trump's post right now on social media. He's saying the animal that shot the 2 National Guardsmen, with both being critically wounded, are now in 2 separate hospitals, is also severely wounded, but regardless will pay a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people. I, as the President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you. And again, Yemisi, we know that a lot of these Guards members have come from all over the country, many of them young men and women away from home. They signed up to protect and serve, and so far, for the months that they have been in DC, they have been on the National Mall, they have been in neighborhoods, they have been inside metro stops, and so far, it has been without incident. And today, the day before Thanksgiving, it is really hard to fathom that something like this has happened. Your heart truly breaks for their families to watch all of this unfold. Again, we're learning their condition is critical at this hour. We don't know their identities, where they were from, but my goodness.
Yeah, and you think about these National Guard that came here, and they really didn't have an end date. We know that it kept getting extended, and Mayor Muriel Bowser was working with the president and the White House on the timing of National Guard and how long they would stay. And finally, they're told that they're going to be fully pulled out of D.C., and this happens. I mean, it really is something just completely tragic to a lot of folks that left their families and came here not knowing what the future might hold for them.
And we were hearing December 11th was the date that they would be, released. We know the numbers have been dwindling again from that high point, about 2,000. But if you've spent any time in the district over the last few months, you have seen them typically with a smile on their face, greeting people as they walk into the metro, giving directions, helping clean up trash from the streets of DC, literally picking up trash, mulching, just making DC more beautiful. And so to have this happen, truly tragic situation. But again, the White House is on lockdown. You see police presence from all over the district here gathered in the area of 16th, 17th, and I on Connecticut. Just a block from the White House, you have the Metropolitan Police Department. They are getting ready for a media staging scene over on K Street. So we're hoping to bring you any statements they have in regards to the investigation and the very latest details on that. You also see FBI, ATF, Secret Service, all in the area. Again, one of the most protected and surveilled areas in the entire country, if not the entire world.
And as we know from that interview.
All right, everyone, that coverage continues with Fox 5 DC. We want to continue to bring you the updates as they're happening with different live feeds that we are getting. I do want to go out to Kentucky for a moment because Vice President J.D. Vance just came on stage. He is spending time with the troops. We want to see his comments right off the top. Let's listen in.
Beautiful Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and let me just say, I want to say first, before we get started, on a somber note, we had, and some of you may have seen this on your phones or on social media, but apparently there was a shooting outside the White House just a couple of hours ago, and we're still learning everything. We still don't know the motive. There's a lot that we haven't yet figured out, but what we do know is that a couple of National Guardsmen were injured in the line of duty. And first of all, I want everybody who's a person of faith to say a prayer for those two National Guardsmen that they're able to spend Thanksgiving with their families instead of losing their lives, because I understand they're still in pretty tough condition. But I think it's a somber reminder that soldiers, whether they're active duty, reserve, or National Guard, our soldiers are the sword and the shield of the United States of America. And as a person who goes into work every single day in that building and knows that there are a lot of people who wear the uniform of the United States Army, let me just say very personally, thank them for what they're doing. We're grateful to them, and we're praying that they're going to be safe and they're going to spend Thanksgiving with their families. God bless them. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the business of the Army and about what you're doing and about why it's important to the United States of America and why.
All right, guys, I think I'm going to cut out of here because this was a live stream for the shooting, the two National Guard members by somebody. I think we're all used to this. The longer they don't say who it was, the closer we get to figuring out who it was, right? Let's see, this guy might be going back to the live coverage. Either way, I wasn't trying to keep the live stream going for J.D. Vance's speech or whatever. I want to make sure we're covering the National Guard shooting. At this point, they're saying they think that they have the shooter, the perpetrator, and they think, here we go again, it's a lone gunman, according to them. So who knows? At this point, I don't know that I believe that. I rarely believe any of that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, that's what their claim is at this point. Sounds like 3 people were transported with gunshot wounds, but they say 2 National Guardsmen have been shot. So I don't know if that's 2 National Guardsmen and the shooter that have been transported. I don't know if it's 2 National Guardsmen and a third person got shot. That was not National Guardsmen. And then we have the shooter separately. Don't know if the National Guardsmen shot the shooter. Don't know if the shooter's been shot. This has been, as usual, an absolutely horrible report because they don't have any good information that they're putting out at this point. So just not getting a whole lot. So, I mean, I don't see the need to put this live stream going. I know that we've got a couple of bots in the room also. I'll be honest with you guys. I know a lot of you guys want me to ban the bots when they come in here, but I enjoy toying with stupid people. I think stupid people are good to have around because sometimes, especially the ones like we have a couple of liars are in the group right now. When they say lies like that, I think it makes most people have to correct them, and it makes us independently think instead of like they do. They read things and they repeat them, or they repeat what they've been told by somebody on a left-leaning side or something like that. So I do think it's productive sometimes to have these stupid, overweight, fat cat ladies in the room sometimes, because I do believe it adds value to the room in the end. It may not seem like it whenever you're engaging them, because sometimes it makes you feel dumber having talked to them. But in many cases, I do think it improves the overall quality of the stream, simply because so many people are better educated than them, and we usually correct them. Again, I know some of you may be wondering, why didn't I kick the 2 fat ladies out of the room? Well, personally, I think they belong here. So it's good to have them here. One of them is really struggling with the truth. You can tell that it's like the one Lauren. I don't even think that's a fat lady. I think that's a bot, because it's pulling from known lies that everybody knows are lies. So I think it's one of those things where they're hoping that there will be a smooth brain person that will actually listen to them. I don't think that bitch knows where she's at, because nobody in this room is going to listen to them. The other lady, I just think, is misinformed. I think she just hates guns. She's scared of guns and whatever. I understand that people have phobias out there. So when somebody is unjustifiably afraid of firearms, that's their problem. It's not mine. But at the same time, I understand that it's a fear that a lot of people have. So again, that's why I don't kick them out. I don't mind them being here. Again, I probably get a little bit of enjoyment out of them. You know, sometimes whenever you're toying with the dummies, you understand where you fall on the king of the mountain, and if nothing else, it's an ego boost to have dummies in the chat room, because it makes us all feel smarter, right? Because I ain't the smartest guy in the room, I promise you that. I'm gonna leave this. I do have a video that I'm trying to get out for today. It's almost 3 o'clock my time over here. I'll probably still get it out. I will keep the live stream going for about another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I will quietly shut it down. And hopefully I'll see you guys back here at 5 p.m. Central Time for my latest video, which is pretty entertaining, I might tell you. So let me return to the live stream.
States all over the country sending their Guards members here, and we now know that these two who have tragically been killed were from West Virginia. I want to go back out live to Bob Barnard, who is
oh wow, the Guardsmen are dead. Both of them died
at this hour. Bob, what can you tell us?
That's tragic.
Yeah, Homa, we just saw an MPD command vehicle just pass us here. I mean, the news is hitting folks hard, because obviously these were two National Guardsmen who were not home for Thanksgiving, working the day before Thanksgiving here in our nation's capital. And we're starting to get reaction to the fact that these two Guardsmen, whether they were targeted or not, have been shot and killed here just a block, 2 blocks basically away from the White House. And joining me is Rich and Mike. Rich is visiting for Thanksgiving from Michigan. Mike, you live here. When I shared this news with you, what was your reaction, Rich?
It's sad, you know, that they're just doing their job. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's pretty sad.
We don't know either. And Mike, you live here. Your thoughts as a DC resident, that these two Guardsmen away from their families for Thanksgiving, working on our streets, were either ambushed or somehow, I mean, you got to believe they were targeted if they were both shot and in uniform. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it just seems like tempers are flaring, and things are getting to a boiling point. At some point, you know, it's got to stop.
I was telling our viewers, we were earlier, Doug Wilkes, my photographer, and I, down by the Capital One Arena, where there's a Caps game tonight. There was a large police presence. A car had lost control and smashed into a building, but there were uniformed National Guards people there helping to provide perimeter security at that scene. Have you seen them on the street? Have you had any interactions, either Rich while you're visiting, or Mike, since you do live here?
There hasn't been a lot, but once in a while you'll see one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and we work here, haven't seen much of them. It seems to have been ratcheted down, but they're still here. Again, Rich, you know, you're here for fun for Thanksgiving, and you see and walk into something like this.
I don't really know how to react without knowing any details, because, like I said, you just don't know. You know, I don't want to give an opinion that's wrong. You know, so. Yeah, that's how I would feel about that.
Rich, Mike, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. And just take a look here. I mean, you see these uniformed Secret Service, heavily armed Secret Service officers here in Lafayette Square because the White House is currently on lockdown, even though the president and first lady are down in Palm Beach for Thanksgiving. I mean, there were tourists here at Lafayette Square, up along the gate, the fencing around the White House there on Pennsylvania Avenue. But now everybody is pushed back out here to H Street. And I want to pan to the right as we see people going down the sidewalk here. This is the next intersection is Connecticut Avenue, and then 17th Street is the next. This is H. 1 block to the north. To the right would be I Street. But normally there would be cars cruising up and down Houma here along H Street. near the White House. And it is open to pedestrians, at least up until Connecticut. But just a shocking turn of events here. I mean, a shooting, and now going from critically wounded to 2 West Virginia National Guardsmen shot and killed on the streets of D.C., which were in kind of a pre-Thanksgiving mood today. We've been down here all day, earlier covering an event at the convention center with Mayor Bowser, who was in a very light mood because she had announced yesterday she would not be seeking a 4th term. And as we were talking with Guy Lambert earlier, after her news conference with reporters, you know, we hadn't seen her in that kind of a light, weight off my shoulders kind of aura in some time. And here, just like an hour later, this happens. So just sadly, a dark pre-Thanksgiving here in our nation's capital. And again, you have 2 West Virginia National Guardsmen. I don't know if it's 2 men, 2 women, man, woman. The ones I saw down at 7th Street near Capital One Arena at that car accident, it was a man and a woman in their fatigues, National Guardsmen. They were here doing a job, and it's just hard to believe. And we'll get more reaction. I mean, I saw Rich and Mike walking by, and when I told them what happened, you know, they were visibly shaken. But as you heard Rich from Michigan saying, what was it all about? We don't know the details, unfortunately.
And Bob, those details are coming in very slowly at this hour, but we'll check back in with you in just a little bit. Thank you so much, Bob Barnard, live for us in front of the White House. And just to catch you up, if you're just now joining us, the governor of West Virginia confirming that the 2 Guards members from West Virginia have been shot and killed here on the streets of D.C. Let's go back out live to Julie Donaldson, who is on the scene there near 16th and I. Julie?
Hey, Homa. When that news came out that these 2 Guardsmen did not survive this, you could just really feel a heaviness here. I mean, there is a very heavy presence of media lining the entire way down 16th Street, even down to 17th. That news, people grasping the severity of what happened here today. And right as you're talking about on the holidays as well. No, I reached out to the mayor's office and just happened to see a spokesperson that was walking by. And I said, where is the mayor? They said she is here in D.C. for the holidays. So she is in town, and she is currently being briefed on everything that happened here today. As they do get more information, we can expect a press conference from her. We can expect more information coming out as she is currently gathering it herself. But as this remains a very active scene, again, as we were down a block further on 17th Street, and not too long ago, they pushed all the media members back to 16th Street because they wanted to expand this investigation. There's been a lot of talks on how many people were injured. Of course, now we do know that 2 Guardsmen were shot as we do wait more information. But that is all the same information that Mayor Muriel Bowser is getting right now as well. And again, we can expect more information from her office as she gathers and puts that together. You know, I was talking to some National Guardsmen as they were looking into expanding into different districts, and different wards had the opportunity to say, yes, we want these National Guardsmen to come into our neighborhoods for the beautification, to help clean it up, to also just have their presence in order to make the streets safer. A lot of wards selected to have their presence come in. Some said they didn't think that it was anything that was going to do long-term good. They thought their presence there, while it might deter crime for the moment, was more just a Band-Aid. And the second that they would leave their neighborhoods, leave their wards, that the crime would pick up. But when you're talking to the National Guardsmen, and he said a lot of the National Guardsmen, I know the 2 that were shot from here, they're from this area. A lot of them took pride in the work that they were doing as well. But today, all of them will have a heavy heart as things unfolded here as well, Homa.
And we're going to continue our breaking news coverage into 2 West Virginia Guards members killed on the streets of D.C. as the 4 o'clock begins right now. I'll toss it over to Kenneth and Angie. And Yemisi, you know, at this point, we're just getting this information in that these were 2 West Virginia Guards members. Again, they were not home for Thanksgiving. They were here serving on the streets of D.C. We don't know yet if this was an ambush, if this was a planned attack, but the president saying that the shooter was also badly injured. We know 3 people were taken from that scene, so we're still waiting to get those details. We know MPD right now is setting up for a press conference, but we'll head over to the 4 o'clock news and continue our breaking coverage. Guys.
Thank you, Homa. Just incredible coverage there. And our continuing coverage here does begin in the 4 o'clock hour after these 2 National Guardsmen targeted outside of the White House, shot and killed. We are following the latest developments here.
Yeah, first we want to go straight to the streets where Nana Sinyabonsu is standing by. She is at Farragut Park right now. This is near where the incident happened, where the shooting happened at 17th and I, near Farragut Square. And this is also where we understand, Nana, we are expecting a briefing from officials, and this is the media staging area, and that should happen momentarily, we're told.
Hey, Homa, yes, correct. We're told this media briefing can happen anytime soon, but we've just been told to come to this block of 17 and I, again, right by Farragut Square. This is a very large scene. If you can see on the other side of this park is a little closer to where we are told the 2 National Guard members that we now know have passed were shot. You have a lot of tourists here. You have people who live in the area. I was able to speak to a number who said, you know, they actually saw Guard members as we've been covering. These National Guard members have been here for months, helping with the crime in the district. You see them in groups. You see them walking. One tourist said she was having a drink at a cafe. She saw a couple of them, and that's when she heard the shots, but she can't really piece together what took place. All she heard briefly after was sirens, and then an ambulance came. She did say she saw them lift someone and put them on the gurney, but can't confirm who it was. A lot happening, a lot of witnesses. We spoke to one man who's in town from South Carolina about what he saw moments after he saw an ambulance pull up. Take a listen.
Okay, so go ahead. So talk to me about what you saw when you got here.
When I arrived, there were still police cars coming in from all directions, and the ambulance was across the street. I saw the people take the gurney from the ambulance, go down the street, and in about 10 minutes they came back, and there was a body on that, and I don't know if it was alive or what, but they put it in the ambulance and they drove down the street, and that was it. And since then it's been massive reporters everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I have to ask you, and if you can speak up just a little bit, what goes through your mind when you hear that at least 2 National Guard members were shot right here in the nation's capital?
Oh my. Shooting anywhere is terrible, and shooting National Guard is also terrible. It's unfortunate that they're here, to be truthful with you, and that's maybe part of the problem. But still, not good, not admissible shootings.
And that was just an account of one of many witnesses that are here. A very, 1 second, I believe we're getting an update from police. I see there are putting stands up. I think they were just asking us to stay behind the caution tape. I wanted to give you guys a sense of where we are and where the White House is. This is just about 2 blocks away from the White House. Past the Tate to the left is where the White House is, closer to H Street. So just to kind of give you an idea of the proximity. Okay, police are asking us, to stay on the other side of the caution tape, which we are doing. I just believe some other reporters are getting on the other side. Again, a lot happening here, but we're expecting that update in that briefing. No worries. And as soon as we have it, we'll take it for you right here live. But again, what we can confirm, 2 National Guard members from West Virginia shot and killed here at the nation's capital just a day before Thanksgiving. As soon as we have updates, we'll have it for you. Holman, Kenneth?
All right, Nana, thank you so much. And just to reset for our viewers here who are joining us here in the 4 o'clock hour on Fox 5, those shots fired outside the White House in the 2 o'clock hour, 2 National Guards members were hit. Since then, they have been confirmed dead. They were in critical condition when they were rushed to nearby hospitals. We know from the response from President Trump, they were in 2 separate hospitals as they were life-saving measures there. But unfortunately, we've learned that they have been killed. We are hearing from the president. We're hearing from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem at this hour. The White House currently on lockdown, heavy security in that area around the White House.
Yeah, we know, as you mentioned, Kenneth, that the president has released a statement. He has been briefed on this. Mayor Muriel Bowser also briefed on this shooting that took 2 lives of our National Guardsmen from West Virginia. 17th and I in Farragut Square, that remains shut down. The West Virginia governor also weighing in and confirming that this has been a tremendous loss for a state.
I'm sorry, Angie. We just got word there were conflicting reports from the West Virginia governor about the conditions of these National Guardsmen who we've been reporting are dead. I'm going to read this to you right now from Governor Patrick Morrisey there in West Virginia. We are now receiving conflicting reports about the condition of our 2 Guard members and will provide additional updates once we receive more complete information. Our prayers are with these brave service members, their families, and the entire Guard community. With this incident happening, less than 2 hours ago, Angie, this is no surprise that we are getting conflicting reports at this point. But when that social media post came out from the governor that these National Guard troops were indeed killed, obviously that is a credible source for us, and that is what we reported. But now we're hearing the governor say there's conflicting reports.
And just to give you some context, when we have breaking news like this, and one that involves so many different officials, so many different agencies, I know alone, just to begin, we're talking DC Police, National Guard, we saw the ATF, Federal Protective Services, we have their local authorities for the Guardsmen and where they're from. They're all coordinating this, and we are doing our best as is everybody, and not jumping ahead of the facts, not jumping ahead of conclusions here, just relying on our sources and the official ones at that. What we do know, though, is that as of right now, you mentioned the White House is on lockdown, but they don't believe that there is an imminent threat out there to the public. But with any investigation like this, especially one that involves members of our U.S. military, this is going to be a huge investigation where they're going to have to set the perimeter, canvass the scene. It's going to take a lot of time, and that's why you see such a huge volume of officer presence here. And we still will not have a timetable, probably for a long time, as far as when everything will open up. But the suspect, we are told, was wounded and is in custody.
Is in custody. The president, putting on social media the animal that shot the 2 National Guardsmen, with both being critically wounded and now in 2 separate hospitals, is also severely wounded, but regardless will pay a very steep price. We have no information, no details about this suspect. We've heard some information about this person. This gunman had been in a hoodie on this 70-degree day here in Washington. Obviously, the day before Thanksgiving, there are a number of people always around the White House and near the White House. But at this point, no information about that suspect or any motives, any political motives at this point. But as you see, that's a live scene there in Northwest DC, a large, not only police presence, but a number of federal agencies are on the ground there. And this is common and typical in these types of situations where, again, the White House is locked down, but the White House will be locked down on something pretty simple, just any potential threat. Obviously, there's a major threat here, which is why you have the White House locked down. And the president and the first lady are currently in Florida, so they're not even there, but this is still normal to have this type of security presence there. We want to get to our Josh Rosenthal, who's on this scene as well. We have a number of reporters there. Josh, where are you and what are you seeing?
Kenneth, Angie, I'm standing just in front of the intersection of 16th and I. That's what's there behind me. And the reason that we're standing this far back from the police tape is because I want to give you this wide angle to show you just how expansive this crime scene is. We're standing on I Street. So that first intersection you see here is 16th. The one just after it, that's I and 17th. That is where we believe that these shootings took place. And as you can see, it is emergency vehicles and chaos at this point, from our vantage point, pretty much as far as the eye could see. Now, if you follow me up this direction, Joaquin Neto doing a really great job here walking with me. We are now approaching the intersection of 16th and I, and to give you a better idea of where exactly this is down here, Neto, if you could turn in my direction, right down there, only a block or two, that's the White House, which, as you guys were saying earlier, is on lockdown. One thing about this, what appears to be a tragedy happening in this area, especially this time, right before Thanksgiving, you have a lot of people, tourists, walking all throughout here. We just spoke with a couple of people who said they were from Virginia, a little further out. They came here to D.C., they said, just to spend a nice night in the city ahead of the holidays, and they just so happened to walk by this crime scene and this apparent tragedy. They said they were devastated to see this, and person after person has said, in particular, this is tough to see and learn about just ahead of the holidays. Take a look over here in this direction, back to where we came from. You can see police vehicles, in some cases, still pulling up. That's DC police right there. If you keep going to your left, Neto, another police vehicle. And so as this information trickles out, guys, about what exactly happened here and the condition of various people involved, it is important to remember this is still very much an active crime scene. That police vehicle right there just had to tell people to get out of its way, and it sped down towards the White House. And right now, this is very much the scene. Here, if you look back in this direction, Neto, you can see these are just normal drivers, it would appear, who either parked there or driving by the area. They are trying to navigate this just as we are, just as tourists on foot are, and just as police are. So come on back here for 1 second with me. I'm going to see if we can talk to some of these people who are standing by. Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you. It's okay. I understand some folks not wanting to go on live TV. That's okay. That's okay. Just trying to get a sense for you guys at the reaction among people. I'm sorry to bother you. Could I ask you real quick, ma'am? Let's try this one. Come over here. I'm terribly sorry to bother you. I'm Josh. Can I just ask you what you think of all this happening? It looks like you were just passing by.
Yeah, I'm actually on a call. Can you?
That's okay. No worries. As you guys can see, very much a fluid situation here. A lot of people passing by over here in this direction. Families passing by, just trying to figure out, like we are, like police are, what exactly is taking place. For now, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Josh, thank you there. I know people are just coming out because they want to see that scene, try to figure out what's going on, but also just go about their day. Bob Barner is also very close to the scene. I think you're near Lafayette Park. Let's bring in our Bob Barner to see what he's got. Hey, Bob.
Hey there, Kenneth and Angie. Yeah, it's fairly quiet here, and anybody who on this day before Thanksgiving visiting friends, family, or just as a complete family from out of town would have hoped to have been right up alongside the White House gates on Pennsylvania Avenue. Unfortunately, they're kept here. This is at the far northern perimeter of Lafayette Square, right along H Street. And you see a lot of protesters here, and some people have been kind of jawing at each other. And the heavily armed Secret Service uniformed police are maintaining a perimeter. There is police tape here at kind of the main walkway, which would extend south along 16th Street straight down to the front of the White House down there on Pennsylvania Avenue. But the heavily armed, uniformed Secret Service police have been here since we arrived here about an hour ago. They are maintaining the perimeter because the White House is on lockdown. So you got to believe there are a lot of people in the White House complex who are hoping to get out maybe a little bit earlier today because it is the day before Thanksgiving, and they're being held in. Nobody's allowed to advance toward the White House. So you see, not many people here. I mean, there's, the pro-Palestinian, release the Epstein files, anti-Trump protesters, but they've been quiet as they realize what's going on here, that the White House is on lockdown. Lafayette Square is closed. A number of the streets in the area are closed as well. And I'm going to have Doug Wilkes pan to the right here in a second and just show you we're on H Street. So some cars are coming this way that are being turned away from the blocked road down there. The next street west of us where they're turning from is Connecticut Avenue. The street beyond that where you see the flashing lights, that would be 17th Street at H. The incident is to the right, 1 block north at 17th and I is where this shooting happened. So pedestrians are able to get as far as Connecticut Avenue, but cars are being kept several blocks away from where we are. Some are able to leave this area. Those that were in parking garages here or on the curb, but no vehicular traffic is allowed into this area. Again, you can see some pedestrians, but it's a wide perimeter still around this scene. And as Josh was doing moments ago,
all right, guys, I don't think we're going to get much more out of this today. It looks like they pretty much don't know what is going on. We're not going to find out the identity of the shooter. According to them, the shooter has been shot. The 3 people who were transported to hospitals, one of them was the shooter. and the 2 National Guardsmen. As you guys heard just now, there's conflicting reports that the National Guardsmen had died. We don't know. I mean, at this point, they came out and officially said they had both passed away, and then they said that they hadn't. There were conflicting reports from the governor of West Virginia himself. So we do not know that at this point. My guess is there's a reason why they're holding this information back, especially if National Guardsmen were shot. You guys know that the crime is pretty much non-existent right now in D.C., so these National Guardsmen have done one hell of a job assisting local law enforcement there. So it's sad that that they're not, these guys might not be home for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Really sad about that. I mean, it's sad to see these guys who are all volunteers go to something like this and do such a fantastic job of knocking crime to practically zero in DC, and then have something like this come out. So I would be willing to bet this is not your average little carjacker guy who did this. I'd be willing to bet it's a snack bar related issue more than anything. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to kill the feed. I know there's 400 something of you guys still in here, but we're not getting any information. These guys, these broadcasters are just running around yip-yapping with people. Nobody's got any information to share. So I feel like I'm wasting your time at this point. So I'm going to kill out of here. And hopefully, if we get more information, I'll put a video together and I'll share that with you guys later on. So thanks, guys. Hey, if I don't talk to any of you guys, please have a safe and happy Thanksgiving tomorrow with your family and friends. And I hope everybody can keep the conversation civil at the dinner tomorrow. But I also know that we have liberals sprinkled throughout our families, and they are butthurt big time right now. So it's going to be hard to not say anything to some of these dummies out there, especially the ones that are repeating lies. So straighten them out. I got no problem with it. Anybody lies at my Thanksgiving dinner, they will be met with immediate truth. So guys, have a great one. Best wishes for your family and all your friends. And again, I hope everybody is safe and has a wonderful time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.